President Buhari inaugurates projects in Kano State. United Nations projects Nigeria's economy to grow by 3% in 2023. Pengassin decries current hardship and scarcity over high cost of petrol. And today we shall be taking a look at how Nigerians are reacting to the extension and currency swap. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Leah Katung-Babatunde, your guide. State-of-the-art legacy projects executed by government in the areas of power supply, transportation, as well as information and communications technology have been inaugurated in Kano towards enhancing the nation's socio-economic development. President Muhammadu Buhari performed the ceremony during a one-day official visit to the Center of Commerce.
Among the projects inaugurated was the 10 megawatts Kano solar power plant jointly owned by the federal and Kano state governments as well as Kumboso local government council. Situated on a 24-hectare parcel of land, the project, which has more than 21,000 solar panels, 52 inverters and 2 6-megawatts transformers, is so far the largest grid-connected solar PV plant in the country. President Buhari was informed that apart from catalyzing growth in the power sector, the renewable project also builds Nigeria's credentials in the fight against climate change and the commitment to attaining the net zero carbon emissions by 2060.
This project by the Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Investment Authority, NSIA, is a clear demonstration that the country is doing the right things and walking the talk in our decarbonization commitment.
President Buhari also inaugurated the Dala Inland Dry Port Zawachiki. This critical transport infrastructure, the Transportation Minister Mwazu Jaji Sambo says, is one of the 6 established in the country to decongest the seaports while taking shipment and port services closer to importers and exporters in the hinterland. Kano, in particular, as the commercial capital of northern Nigeria, with huge agricultural trade in both local and export volumes, as well as numerous industrial concerns across various sectors of the economy, is not only suited but most qualified for the infrastructure project.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, generations to come will remember the exemplary leadership that you have provided in these and other areas.
Also inaugurated by the President is a National Tier 4 Data Center and Northwest Regional Office, Kano, of the Galaxy Backbone. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, told the President that a center with over 99% reliability is one of the worthy legacies of the Buhari presidency in the digital economy sector.
From 2015 to 2023, we have executed and implemented projects and programs around 155 within Kano State, and we have similar interventions in other states all over the country.
The President also declared open the more than 460 units Darmanawa Royal City, Kano. It is a social housing initiative of the federal government executed through the Family Homes Fund to provide affordable houses to those in need.
We have successfully funded the development of over 16,000 houses, and by so doing created up to about 75,000 direct and indirect jobs.
Extension of the deadline for the currency swap has reduced tensions and apprehension among residents of Akure, Ondo State capital, some of whom are cash-strapped at the weekend due to non-acceptance of the old Naira notes for transactions. Oluwakemi Aino has that report.
It was a great relief for Nigerians as the deadline given by the Central Bank of Nigeria over the currency swap was extended. In the last few days in Akure, many people had difficulties getting the new notes from ATMs and other points of cash withdrawal, which created some tension and apprehension.
It was needed before, and it's a good development. People have been suffering, I'm telling you, but it's a good development, a welcome one.
We thank God now. What he's saying now is that February 10? So we have time to.
While bank customers now get the redesigned Naira notes from ATMs in Akure, they look forward to increasing the amount being dispensed by the ATM in order to beat the new deadline rather than seeking another extension.
When you visit different ATM machines, you see crowd there. You see the good number of people waiting to get the new notes. I think the government should do more to pump the new note into the circulation because the supply is very, very low.
What we have expected that the extension will have been, the length of extension will have been greater than now we have got it now. 10 days is insufficient. If you look at the crowd here and there, it's insufficient.
The customers urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to intensify its monitoring and enforcement to curb sharp practice by commercial banks.
Well, we've listened to some reactions from Akure, Ondo State, and of course we have our correspondents across the country to bring us up to speed on what's happening in their locations, and we're going straight to Benin right now, where Ifoma Okafor is standing by. Good morning, Ifoma, and how is the currency swap, the change in date, the extension, how is it going with you at that end?
Morning, Leah. It's a pleasure speaking with you this morning. CBN, CBN had earlier pegged today, that is 31st of January 2023, as the last day that the 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira banknotes will cease to be legal tender in Nigeria. And that's following the CBN policy on redesigning of the Naira notes. And before then, the situation was that of chaos here in Benin City, as people were running helter-skelter trying to get the new Naira notes. And until the CBN gave an announcement that there is an extension of 1 week. That's the deadline coming up on 10th of February 2023. So ordinarily, one may think that after the announcement of the deadline, that the surge and the customers besieging the ATM will reduce. But unfortunately, we are here at one of the ATM banks here in Metropolis, and this is King Square in Benin City, and the situation seems to be the same. And before now, I had to engage some of the customers who said they came as early as 6 in the morning trying to get the new Naira notes, but all to no avail. They don't even, the ATM here is not even dispensing cash at all. So let's talk to some of them to see how, or to know how they feel about the development. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Please tell me your name and how do you see, when did you come this morning, and how do you see the situation?
I was here 6:30. I came to withdraw money from the ATM. The thing is not dispensing since morning till now. I went into the bank, to the bulk room to withdraw. They told me they can only give me 50,000, but the money is not good. So we've been here since now. They will even come out with a big bag that they want to load the ATM. We'll be rushing here and there. We have been waiting. This thing has been taking 3 hours since they said they load it, yet it's not dispensing. Somebody came out from the bank now with old money just now, which you saw. These are condemned money, 10 naira. They said they will only give you 20,000 in the counter, but if you go to the bulk room, they will give you 50,000 highest. So what are we going to do with that? The situation is so bad. Hey, A whole headquarter, First Bank headquarter in Ring Road. That is where we are now. If headquarter cannot dispense, so which other bank that can dispense in First Bank? So that is the situation on ground.
My dear, come. It's like they gave you the old Naira note.
Yes.
You're not happy about that?
No, I'm not happy at all. I'm not happy. Very sad, very sad. I've been here since around 6 a.m. Look at the time they give him this morning. And look, 6 a.m. I've been here since morning. You can see the money, very condemned. I even told the lady, the cashier, to change this money for me. She refused. She said, yes, I will go and deposit the money first before she. That's what I need to do. You can see the money, very bad. Very bad notes. See it.
Did you request for the new Naira notes before they gave you this?
Yes, they say no new Naira note.
Okay. That is inside the bank.
Inside the bank, First Bank. This is their headquarters.
If you can hear me, if you can hear me, Ifoma, thank you for the update. We would need to move on, and we're going to join you sometime in the day to know if the situation has abated. Thank you indeed for the update this morning. Nigerians, of course, are worried, and we took a drive around town last night, and indeed, the queues in Abuja city center did not reduce. There was still a lot of crowd there, but then with the extension of the deadline for the swapping of the old Naira notes, one would think it has abated. Let's go to Minna, the Niger State capital, and take this other view.
After public uproar over scarcity of new Naira notes, the Central Bank of Nigeria bowed to public pressure by extending the deadline for exchange of old Naira notes to February 10th. Despite the extension, long queues were observed at most of the bank ATMs visited in Minna, the Niger State capital, while a few others were characterized with rowdiness.
As you can see, look at the queue. Since in the morning we are here and we are not able to withdraw any money. Yes, because there is a lot of queue and there is no money in the ATM.
The experience is bitter. Of the truth, why will you keep people waiting for more than 6 hours? We have been here since 7 o'clock, all because we want to use ATM. They've extended, but the money is not in circulation.
Yesterday I came here at 5:30 a.m. at 9. They gave me number 138. 10 o'clock, please, they never start paying money. By the time they started, only 4 people collected money.
Some residents commended the CBN for the extension. Others were perturbed by actions of some commercial banks who are not dispensing money to the public, just as others chose to sell Nigeria's currency to helpless customers for a fee.
People inside the bank, they used to sell the money. If you give 100,000, they will collect 10,000. For what reason? We are all suffering every day.
It is now believed that the timing of the laudable policy may ultimately determine the success or otherwise of the Naira redesign exercise.
We return to the streets and we're headed to Sokoto State, the seat of the Caliphate, where Lawali Saleh Husabon Birini is standing by. Lawali, good morning. What is happening at your end?
Yes, yeah, Sokoto, as you can see, this area is where most of the banks, including central banks, are located. And if you look behind me here, you see long queues of people. For days, they have been here. So many of them told me that they have been here for quite a long time to get money, but no money. So the problem there, according to them, is not that to stay in the long queue, but there is no money even on the ATM machine. And some of them even narrate to me that they go to the POS, no money. And yesterday I was even at the Sokoto Central Market, the NAP center of business here in Sokoto. Now the place looked deserted, nobody there. And you know, without money, no business. Now with me, I have some people with me who will share their experience on the situation. Now, what is the name?
My name is Saeed Lord.
Huh?
My name is Saeed Lord.
My Saeed, how will you narrate the situation here? I can see that you are on long queue here.
Yes, I come this ATM machine since in the morning, since around 6 o'clock. I can't withdraw my money because of lies. Since I don't withdraw my money.
Then what up? You know, there is this duration that the CBN has increased 10 more days, so that maybe it will ease the situation. Now, how do you react to this?
Gaskia, these 10 days is not very important, Gaskia, because They are put this 10 days. You're supposed to leave it since before 3 days come. You're supposed to leave it, make this finish, everything is finished, because you know say you enter shopper and finish. I went POS yesterday. I go transact even 2,000 naira, he say you don't have. Now if you want to transact 1,000 naira, it's 100 naira. Every 1,000 naira for POS is 100 naira. If you want to come out 5,000 naira, you charge you 700 naira. That's why this shopper is very shopper. This thing is not very important. This.
Now also is another person that will narrate the situation, the same situation that I face here in Sokoto. Now what is the name?
My name is Hassan Muhammad.
Now what do you have to tell us about the experience, your experience here? Have you seen that you have been in the long queue according to you?
Yes, I have more things to tell you, because we are here since around 3:30 for the night today, and up to now I don't think we withdraw anything. And if you went to the ATM to withdraw the money, they will charge you high, very high. If you want to withdraw about 10,000 naira, they will charge you more than 500 naira. So, and now, due to the lack of money that we have on our banks, that is the situation that people are suffering about it. So we need the government very care about this thing. We need the government put their eyes on the banks due to the situation that they make the people. There is no money even for some banks that we have in this state. I'm using Access Bank, but since last week that I get 20,000 from them, up to now I didn't get anything from them. And this is that almost 5 days that I'm used to come here.
Now, that is the situation here in Sokoto. If you could start and look at this direction, it's long queues. All the banks, almost all ATMs here around this area. Now, like I said earlier, this is where majority of the banks are located here in Sokoto. You see long queues at almost all the ATMs here. Not only there, even if you go to the POS, the complaints of not having money. I could recall yesterday, I was one of the POS there to ask for money. They told me that all what they collected from the bank was just 50 naira, all and tattered money. And even that one before, at least you can get something out of the money, you must be selective there. So that is all about the situation here in Sokoto. But we hope that maybe with the extension of 10 more days, there will be a sort of solace to the people, at least so that they will go with their normal life.
So much, Sally, for that update from Sokoto, and do have a nice one. So I return back to the studio to our correspondent, Bossday Abel, who has been on the streets since this window opened, and we hoped she was going to take a breather at the end of today, but it seems you have 10 more days to go.
Yeah, good morning, Leah.
Good morning there.
Well, like our correspondents have said, you know, it's no different. It's been a roller coaster of activity. The pressure is on the government. The pressure is on the financial institutions, and the pressure is also on the people. So I'll begin with my trip to Nasarawa State, you know, the rural areas where we had the cash swap program. Going there was kind of, it was a huge challenge to the people. You know, most of them rely on POS operators as their banks. So as at that last week, most of them said most of the old cash were being rejected, you know, from them. So I was able to talk to a few of the POS operators. One of them luckily came out to me and told me, okay, he had a call, you know, and he was like, Madam, you can hear somebody, a customer had 500,000 cash with him to make that a transaction. But at that point in time, some of the banks were already rejecting the old notes. People could not trade, people could not sell and buy as at that time. Then there was also this rumor going on social media that said banks were also rejecting, you know, the old notes. I was able to go to some of the banks, you know, and ask if that was actually true, and also spoke to the people, you know, I met at some of these ATM terminals. They were like, okay, for those people I spoke to, they were like, there is nothing of that. Most of them said there was nothing of that they never experienced it, that banks were actually, you know, receiving the old notes. Then on weekend, you know, the CBN gave directive that most most of that banks should, operate weekend. That was Saturday and Sunday. I was able to go around, and I saw most of the banks, were open as usual. With people making their deposits, then the queues, people were trying to, make withdrawal. Then something caught my attention. At one of the banks I went and I saw one of their officials addressing the people. They were like, some of the people, most of the withdrawals, why there were cash scarcity, where sometimes a particular person could go to the ATM spot and make withdrawal of 10, 15 cards, while others are waiting on the queue. Due to the limit was like 40,000 per withdrawal, then it reduced to 20,000, and it then reduced, as at this week, yesterday, it's reduced to 10,000 per withdrawal, that's per card. So it's been a challenging experience, but after the extension by the CBN governor and by the president, I beg your pardon, 10 days grace, thinking, okay, something with Nigerians who will relax then when it gets to the deadline, people will start going, running helter-skelter. But I was shocked as at yesterday, the whole terminals were very, very empty. And I spoke to some of the people, what was happening. They said there were no cash. Then I went to some of the banks. I spoke to the officials. They said they were still expecting cash from, the CBN. And it's not been easy on the people. It's not been easy on the government. And this is something that it's both ways. You understand? The government is trying to secure the economy, and make sure that at least we start operating the cashless economy, and, plans well for the people. But also at the other end, the people now are kind of suffering. It's like, okay, this is what is happening, and the pressure is too much on everybody. So far, the CBN said they have retrieved 1.9 trillion naira of the old notes, and they hope to, get the balance of 900, billion. And at the end of the day, we pray everything works out.
So no one attacks you again out there.
I was actually attacked. I was actually attacked by, angry Nigerians due to the pressure. Sometimes they see me and the next thing they say is that your government. And so there was a day a guy actually held me by the throat and almost, destroyed the camera. But at the end of the day, it is the same people that saved me from those attacks. Also, it happened to one of our colleagues, Hamidu. He was also, his clothes was wrecked. So it's quite challenging, but we hope at the end of the day we are seeing, light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, thank you so much,
that has been the experience.
Yes, thank you for the update. So away from the banks and all the hassles, it's a positive start for the equities market as investors gain 277.31 billion naira. The all-share index advanced by 0.95% at the close of trade on Monday to settle at 53,157.83 points. Market capitalization rose to 28.953 trillion naira. Investors exchanged 201.3 million units of securities valued at 5.6 billion naira in 4,332 deals. Zenith Bank Guarantee Trust Holding Company and Transco were the most active shares in terms of volume at the end of the session. Global Market Update is next with Nekaoko.
Stocks fell Tuesday as investors positioned for interest rate hikes this week from the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank. On Wall Street, futures tied to the S&P 500 slipped 0.03%, while futures connected to the Dow Jones Industrial Average ticked down 0.03% and Nasdaq 100 lost 0.22%. In Asia, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index fell 1.97%, mainland China's Shanghai Composite dipped 0.4%, and Japan's Nikkei 225 slipped 0.39%. European markets are also heading for a lower open as attention turns to the U.S. Federal Reserve's latest policy meeting kicking off Tuesday. Traders widely expect a 25 basis point increase, but will monitor commentary for clues about how much further the Federal Reserve intends to hike or when it plans to cut rates. European markets will also be keeping an eye on fourth quarter Eurozone gross domestic product data that will be published Tuesday. African stocks are not left out of the negative sentiment as early figures from South Africa, Tunisia and Namibia are pointing to a negative open, with JSE Africa to 40 down the most at 0.92%.
Well, this is where we end this episode of Business Express this morning. But then the business and other financial activities continue. And so in the coming days, Nigerians will have to find a way to cope with the situation we've all found ourselves in. If you're able to use your internet, your e-banking terminals, then you might resort to that to reduce the pressure on yourself. If you're also able to use your eNaira wallet, why not? So that we can work on our mental abilities and reduce man hours spent at the banking premises while the authorities at their own part also play their role. Business Express returns tomorrow at 3 p.m. My name is Leah Katumbaba Tunde, saying have a blessed day and God bless Nigeria.